Welcome back to Rethink Retail's podcast, live from Boston. Kirat Anand at eTail. I'm joined with Shardé Marchewski. There you go.
You got it.
There you go. I said it right. This was the first take. I want you to know. It really was. Head of Supplier Diversity at Wayfair. Thank you, Shardé, for being here today.
Of course.
Can you walk me through a little bit of your journey and then how you ended up at this very important major role at an e-tailer?
Absolutely. So I started off my career in finance, like we said. I started off in commercial banking. I then went off to get my MBA after business school. I went into investment banking, where I covered primarily consumer retail. After doing that for a few years, I realized, it wasn't necessarily the career path for me, and that I wanted to really exit and go to a corporate. And so after leaving investment banking, I moved to Boston with my husband, interviewed at Wayfair, which I thought was a super, super cool company at the time, and ended up getting a job here. I was in the category management role for Wayfair Canada for about 3.5 years, so I really helped to set the strategy on our Wayfair Canada site for furniture and decor. And we think about all types of things. How do we increase the speed to customers? How do we think about pricing? How do we think about assortment? I did that for about 3.5 years, and in 2020, the murder of George Floyd happened, and many corporations and people in general just started to think about what can we do to really help push forward activism, right? And how do we start thinking about inclusivity and DEI? And with that, Wayfair was a part of it. Aside from my job at Wayfair being one of the leads on Wayfair Canada, I also led our employee resource group, Way Black, and I was one of the leads there. And so I started to think about how can I make these two worlds intersect, right? Like I understand commercial, I understand strategy, I understand how to do, revenue driving opportunities for various different groups and businesses. How can we start to bring that to underrepresented groups that may not be getting that advice or impact? And so in 2021, we talked to our chief commercial officer and our head of category management, and we were able to launch Supplier Diversity, which is where I'm sitting today, which is super cool and very meaningful and something I'm very passionate about. I think the biggest thing is that DEI is, however you want to call it, if you want to call it supporting Black-owned businesses, if you want to call it, representing or supporting underrepresented groups, it's not a fad, it's not a trend, and it happens, every single day. And so when we think about supporting Black-owned businesses or Latinx-owned businesses, these business owners are Black, they're Latinx, they're underrepresented every single day, beyond just 1 month or moment. And it's important for corporations to acknowledge that, understand that, and continue to lean in year-wide, every single day. The ways that, a lot of businesses can continue to do this is by thinking beyond just the moment and understanding that there's a bigger opportunity out there to elevate a group, to uplift an entire, either population or cohort, by making sure that we're doing this consistently and on a daily basis. I'm heading up Supplier Diversity at Wayfair, and so what this really means is that we're thinking about how do we get more diverse-owned suppliers onto the Wayfair platform, and how do we get those products in front of more customers. And so with that, I started to think about, what do suppliers actually need? How can they thrive on our site? How can we remove any roadblocks to success? And so what we've done is really think about, starting from the ground and having conversations with suppliers and saying, what is it that you need? And so after having these conversations and these talks, I really realized that a lot of suppliers are small businesses that are run by 1, 2, maybe 3 different people. And oftentimes they lack just the overall time and bandwidth to manage their own direct-to-consumer websites while also managing a big retailer such as Wayfair. And again, if you think about, a one-person business owner, they're oftentimes they're the CEO of their company, they're the CPO, they're the COO, they're also customer service, you name it.
They're the chief everything officer.
Yeah, they're doing absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And so one of the main things that we were able to do within the Supplier Diversity Program at Wayfair is to really give back time and bandwidth to suppliers by giving them an SRM, So they have an SRM as a supplier relationship
Yep.
manager. So they have somebody that's talking to them on a regular basis and letting them know, hey, these are the various ways that I think that you can grow your business on our platform. Aside from a relationship manager, we are giving significantly faster payment terms, so suppliers are able to, get money a lot faster. And then we're also highlighting their products on our site. So if you go to Wayfair right now, and if you type in Black owned, you'll see a little visual icon, and it'll say, Black owned or designed. So you can find products that way. You can see it that way. We also have filters on various classes. And aside from Wayfair, we've also launched a Black-owned page on All Modern, which is one of our specialty retail brands, as well as Paragold.
I think the things that you're doing at Wayfair are amazing. Has this had an effect on your customers? What's the response been from the customers?
Yeah, so we've actually gotten a really good response from customers, and we're able to measure that through sales, conversion, traffic. What we've seen is that when you let customers know that products are Black owned, there's a lot of attention on the products. So you see a big increase in traffic. People want to see these products. They want to support them. So we've seen an increase in traffic to these items. We've also seen just an increase in overall sales. So customers like the products. They're going in, they're buying them, and I think this really has to do with the fact that these are great products by some really strong suppliers who historically just haven't had the opportunity to really get in front of customers. And so by launching these various landing pages and by adding the visual icon and the filters and calling out right now, if you go on Wayfair, it's Black Business Month. We have support Black makers right now on the top of the page. By really allowing customers to find this, we're seeing that folks are they want to have these products, and it's really resonating with them.